can manage without my specs. Okay. As all of you see, it's not connected. You are my PPT? Present. Any idea on which topic I'm going to speak? Research ethics. Okay. So what is it you know about research ethics? What do you know about ethics? What do you know about ethics? What is ethics? What is ethics? Values. Ethics is values then. Ethics is values. Okay. Do all of us have values? Do all of us have the uniform values? Uniform values? No, definitely not. Each one is unique. Our value system is unique. From where do we get all these values? From our parents, yes. From society, very good. From our cultural background, and then your institution doesn't give you any value? Yes, they do give values, right? Okay. So we get values from various circles and from your religious books. Okay? From your religion you get values? Okay, some of you may not believe in God. So I am not here because I should always be fair in what I speak. So that is also one of the ethics. And I cannot be biased anywhere talking about some religion here. I am not here to speak or preach about a religion. But all of us know that every religion speaks about the universal truth. Treating one as yourself. Treating a person as yourself is something that all religions, whether it is Christianity, Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, okay, whatever religion it is, it has said this one principle. If you were to go into the Google, you want me to use the mic? Okay. So you find that any religion will speak about this universal truth. Treat others as thyself. And I think if you Google also, you will find this principle universal in every religious book. But in action, are we so? But in action, are we so? Do we treat others as thyself? Do we do it in action? Basically, we fail. We don't treat others as ourselves because we always see them as different, as a competitor. Even here, in your day-to-day, what you are performing, you see the other group as a competitor. You want to perform first. You want to do something first. So we never treat others as like yourself. That is what is a basic mistake that we do. And in spite of the value system that we have learned throughout, we find that the ethics sometimes gets lost. And this cannot happen in the field of research. Research is an area where you bring human being as your important person from whom you collect your data. So as researchers, as we are dealing with social science research, we know that people from different disciplines are here. How many of you are from economics background? Commerce? A whole lot is commerce and economics. Any other field is there? Psychology? Okay. Management, education, social work. Very good. We have different disciplines here. So this is the diversity that we have. Your research should be concentrating on diversity. You cannot concentrate on one particular group or you cannot be biased. So let me go through the research topic. I just wanted to give you tips about ethics that we need to follow in life. And where is it we are? Each one knows where you are. If in case you are not up to the mark, always you have a yardstick to measure yourself in terms of ethics where you lie. Whether in a 0-point rating scale, 0 to 10, where am I? Whether I am in 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10. You need to determine. I think most of you will know where you are. This is very, very important. Self-understanding is very important because that is one of the pillars of ethics. Self-understanding is one of the pillars of ethics, and you need to understand what is your ethics. Only when you have, you can give something. Okay? If you do not have, you cannot give. So ethics is something that is basically inborn into your blood. So let me go into the topic now. So what is you can see this is the content I will be covering. So you want me to have a long session or just a short session? Long. How many of you want long? Raise your hands. Short. Okay, 50-50. So I'll go with a mediocre. Okay, neither long nor short. Okay. So the next one is with regard to your meaning of research ethics. You should have a moral principle. And you should have some standards. And also you should look for some guidelines. Without these things, you cannot conduct a research. This is required right from the planning level, executing, analyzing, and publishing your data. So this is very, very important. You have certain guidelines. You cannot have your own way of doing it. There is a prescribed guidelines which has to be followed. And the key aspects of ethics are dignity. When you are having human being as your important matter of concern from whom you are going to collect data. So the dignity of the respondents should be given importance, the rights, safety, and well-being of the participants. These are the key aspects that we should look into. And next is the integrity, honesty, and transparency in your research process. So your research contains a lot of reference materials, and what happens is you collect data from by circulating. Sometimes what happens, we also manipulate the data. Okay, why should I collect? I remember my days, I can tell you around 35 to 38 years before when I did my PG project. It was such a, that was the one which gave me real knowledge of research. We had to really go into the field, find out what is our problem. The person, a professor, Dr. Rajkumar, he is no more today, when he handled research methodology paper, he made us go into the library. Today, how do you identify a problem? How do you identify? Ethics is important even in identifying the problem. You like a subject, you like an area, you go for research into that subject. This is what research is happening right now. I'm interested in finance, I want to do research. I'm interested in this particular area, prison ministry, and the prison area, I want to find out about the inmates, what is happening to them, I want to study about them, and you are going into it. What is research? Can somebody define what is research? Finding a solution to a problem. Finding a solution to a problem. But simple words. Finding a solution to the problem. Have you identified the problem first to find a solution? Many of you fail in the first level. The first level is there a problem first for you to do a research? If there is no problem, there is no research. So there should be a problem existing. How many of us are doing a research, identifying a problem? So this is the first step of any research, and there should be integrity and honesty when you are selecting and finding out and saying, and you should be able to justify yourself. This is how I found. There should be a statistical proof. There should be a statistical proof that this is going to be a research problem, and explain based on this. When we were in 38 years before when I was doing my PG, we were supposed to take the problem, find out the problem from the newspaper, take the problem, go to the professor, find out whether that is a problem. He will approve the problem. Yes, it is a problem. Now you go ahead with your research. So we will sit and read and read and read to find out where the problem is. So our work was to identify the problem. How many of us are doing this kind of a research today? No, not many, not many. I know I like this topic. This is a trending topic. I will take this topic and I will do a research in it. That is how we have been working. So let's understand where the problem is. Only then our ideas, whatever you come with, your final outcome will be useful for someone. It should be useful for the society. It should be beneficial. Is it going to be beneficial if you say no? Many of us do research for the sake of getting our PhD. Because it is mandate. To become a professor, it is a mandate that I finish my PhD, and we do it that way. Okay, now I'll go back into the subject again. Avoid harm, bias, and exploitation. You cannot, your questions, which is there covered in your questionnaire, you know this is the problem now you have identified. You want to study on the problem, please ensure that it is not biased. I will concentrate only on male. I'm male chauvinist. I cannot accept women. I cannot accept women. I will not give any of the information to women. Many of us are like that. Some do not like men. So I will not go to male members to do anything. I will do only with women. So this kind of biased research nobody can do. So you'll have to have an open mind when you start your research. So exploitation. So you know when you do your research, there are a lot of things you try to, you know, most of you are commerce. So when you studied business law, you would have studied undue influence. What is undue influence? What is undue influence?
Without their interest, we are trying to manipulate things or making them do something.
Yeah, making somebody do something out of force. And there is some relationship existing. Without a relationship existing, you cannot use that force. Normally, teacher, student, we use that force. Teachers, you give, you know, orders to your students. You do this. You must do it. If not, you will not be allowed to go out today. So you're forcing them to fill a questionnaire. Okay, you're forcing them to fill a questionnaire and do it. What does people who have good money, lot of money, political powers, what do? They go into a particular area and make them do something, exploitation. They give them the cheap labor. The market labor speaks about 100 rupees per hour, whereas they give them only 20 rupees per hour and make them do the work, exploitation. So you find that is your research going to be biased like this, or you are going to exploit and get your data, then definitely it's not going to give you you're not following ethics. And acknowledging others' contribution. You should accept and acknowledge. And that is why you have an acknowledgement page. Okay, in your research, when you submit your thesis, there is an acknowledgement page. You should give that due acknowledgement to the people who had contributed towards it. You cannot fail to just thank the professor and the head of the institution and go on with the person, whoever has helped you, one or two, my family members, God, everybody, and miss out the important stakeholders. Kindly ensure that you acknowledge the contributions by people, including the participants who had responded. How many of you have thanked the participants who have responded in your acknowledgement? We have not acknowledged. Did we ever acknowledge? Have you seen any acknowledgement? You take any research articles from Prodhkanga and see, has anyone thanked the respondents? I don't think. Are you not supposed to acknowledge them? If not for them, your study wouldn't have come to a conclusion, isn't it? So I go on to the next one. And you should use your data responsibly and fairly. Okay, I have collected this data. I will find out some information from here. What did the teacher write about her saving pattern? Somebody is doing on saving pattern. How much she is saving, I will go see from that study. Can you do that? You are collecting some personal details and other information. I want to know the age of that person. I will go see that form and find out what is her age. Questionnaire, I will go see the questionnaire, find out that age. Can you do that? And reveal it to somebody. Most of us do that. Taking the data, personal data, and commenting on it, identifying who it is it ethically right? It is not ethically right. So that is why in a questionnaire, we do not ask for any name. We don't ask for their identity. So the anonymity is maintained because we don't want anybody to give their name or represent who they are. And neither you can give it blank. If you wish, you fill. You can't do that. Okay? So the next one. I'm just giving a small example. I think you are all experts. This example doesn't make any big difference. Researcher wants to interview college students about stress. Will you force them to answer? Will you force them to answer? Definitely not. You cannot do that in research. So research is responding to your research questions, whether it's survey or questionnaire. Second thing is you cannot pressure students to participate. Just because you happen to be the head of the department or the class teacher, you cannot force them. Even if you know all of your academicians are part of the academic institute, so you know NAC. Isn't it? All of you know NAC. What does NAC do? One of the important aspects is they take the student satisfaction survey. That's why I put triple S here. Student satisfaction survey. Do they take the satisfaction survey from 100% of the students? No. What do? They take from everybody? No. Do they take from 50%? No. What do? They take only 10% of the population or 100, whichever is least. That is the representative population for them. And it is voluntary. People can respond more than that. That is their wish. But what they will take is they were looking only for 10% of the population or 100, whichever is least. So it is made voluntary. So similarly, when you do a research, when you are distributing a questionnaire or doing a survey, you should find out the consent of the respondent, whether they are willing to respond, give them the, I'll come back to that. Okay, the next one is voluntary participation. I don't have to explain this, you know what it is. Then you'll have to tell them. When you're collecting your data, before you could give it the questionnaire, oh, I'm doing a research, kindly fill. You'll have to explain what is the purpose for which you're collecting this data and what is it going to do to him. What difference is it going to do to him? Then definitely he or she will try to respond meticulously. Many of the questionnaires, instruments, you find that for the sake of filling A, B, C, like how we answer our net exam, set exam. We do not know answer? Okay, A, B, C. Okay, this is D, this is C. You put that way, or answer straight away everything A, because at least you know 5 will be correct. Okay, instead of A, B, C giving different choices, some have the habit of answering all questions A. At least there will be 20 A questions, I can get pass mark. People have that kind of response also. So we find that you'll have to tell them the purpose of the research. Then this is what has happened in many of the research studies. Respondents have responded for the sake of filling because somebody has given to them. Then what happens? What happens? Your data is dispersed. It doesn't match to the study. It is very contradicting. It doesn't connect with one question to the other question, because for the sake of responding, I have just responded to 1 or 2 questions and just A, B, C here, this and that, I just match and finish it off. But if you actually see, you find that the data is dispersed so much. It doesn't match. And you need to tell them the purpose so that they respond correctly. But NACல பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, you have 15 questions to answer. 14 questions are questions which are, you can just say 1 to 5 rating, you can easily answer. The 16th last question is the other way around. If you don't explain them how to answer the last question, your entire survey will be biased. He has to read, understand, and then respond to that last question. If you can go back to NAC portal, go see the student satisfaction survey, you will find the last question. It cannot be answered in the same way how the 15 questions are answered. If the person is going to adopt the same way and answer the last question, the whole lot of response goes dispersed. So somebody has to explain. Only then he is very cautious in filling the last question. Otherwise, he will tend to make a mistake. So the next one is the procedure. What is the procedure that you're going to adopt? Some of the researchers, there are different procedures to be adopted. In commerce and economics, you don't find such, but I do not know about social work and other areas. Sometimes the research might vary. The risk and benefits of this survey, this research, should be explained to the common public. When you are giving, what is the risk and what is the benefit that a person will get? For example, the government is taking a research, a study on people affected by floods. Okay? So what is the purpose of finding out this? Because they want to give them the benefit. Benefit is they have lost their property, they have lost their lives, they have lost many things. The government wants to give some benefit in some measure, financial support or some support they want to give, so they are doing some statistics. Can it cause a risk to the person? Can it cause a risk to the person? No. So in the survey, you can somebody understand Tamil if I speak Tamil, 1 or 2 words? Can everyone understand? You cannot understand. Okay. So the government has to be very, very clear, okay, that it should not cause risk to the respondent. It should be only a benefit to the respondent. Their rights should be protected. So you should always understand the rights of the audience and the participants should be protected. Next is confidentiality. Anybody, for example, I'm giving my data. I don't want others to see my data. Do you allow others to see a bank passbook? No. See, straight away, no, so fast it had come. No. Okay? So it's the same way, the details that has been filled by me is my personal details because the first 10 to 15 questions talks about your demographic profile, which I don't want others to know. Whether I'm single, whether I'm married, okay? All the details, some of them do not want to reveal. So you should maintain it confidential. Some are so keen to find out what is their, their marital, some are very keen. We are so interested in somebody's business. Is that ethics? Please, that is not ethics. So you find that confidentiality should be maintained and anonymity should be maintained, who has responded to your questionnaire, and these should be maintained carefully. Principle, these are the new terms that you will see. All the other things which I had spoken is something very common to you. But these 2 things are 2 different terms that you should definitely know. One is the principle of non-maleficence. That is, do no harm. Do no harm. psychologically, you find that a person is in stress. Okay, a person is in stress. Financially, he's not doing it down. You want to study about a small business. You want to study about a small business who is already not doing well. You want to know the other details, personal details you are trying to collect from him, which he may not be interested, which will cause stress for him. So you should avoid such questions, and you should, put it in such a way that he feels comfortable to answer, and you cannot force anybody to answer. And physical and economic harm cannot be created by your questioner. So do no harm is the non-maleficence principle that has to be followed in research ethics. And the next one is the principle of beneficence should be doing good. It should be only to get benefit or to get good, something positive out of it, and it should not be affecting him in any way. The next one is principle of justice. Okay, we know that the lady with the justice, with the paying balance is there, that justice should prevail. None of us like injustice done to us. Similarly, we'll have to treat everybody equally, and we should avoid injustice to anybody in the research that we are conducting. And fair treatment, and treating one group differently, treating the other group exclusively, giving them very partial way of treatment is something that should be avoided in the research process. For example, a study has been conducted by the government and not favoring the entire welfare of the people, but concentrating on a specific group, which hurts the other group. So that should be avoided. Principle of transparency. All procedures must be openly declared. This is especially when you do a research. This is mostly with not the research that you do. It is mostly with the research which the government and other undertakings, they take at a larger scale, the social work departments which take up a larger scale. And when they do a research, all the research that they do should be beneficial to the common public, and it should not be to any exclusive group. And there should be transparency. Why we have done it. Why we have done it. See, for example, you take an attendance in the college. Okay, when you ask the closing of attendance for a semester. So normally what happens, sometimes you find somebody without attendance has written the exam. Have you noticed that in your institutions? Somebody without attendance has thing. So you find that how come that person wrote? Or in the admission process, a person with just 600 marks has entered into a college, whereas I got 1,000, I did not get admission. Many of these things I think many of you would have faced. Many of you would have faced, because there is no transparency. There is a cutoff, there is a policy, there is a procedure in which the admission has to be done. If you are deviating, there should be a way in which it has been done. There should be a proper, for example, if you are under SC, ST quota or any other quota, there is a relaxation of marks. To what extent there is a relaxation should be defined, so that there is transparency in what you are doing. So the transparency of the data that you had collected, I already said you cannot make it. You'll have to maintain the anonymity and confidentiality. Again, we're talking about transparency. The transparency is with regard to the research that you are doing. The final outcome that you have done, that should be transparent, and not the data that you have collected. So there is a difference between the two. You are able to follow? The difference between the two is the data collected cannot be transparent. The data collected cannot be transparent. It is only the final outcome which has to be transparent, which has to be self-explanatory. Anybody can read, anybody can understand. It should not be for a particular group. They are able to understand it better because they are the beneficiaries. It has to be common to everybody. Then, principle of integrity, I had already explained to you. Okay, now comes your, I would like to give some examples here. Okay. Okay, the maleficence, I told you non-maleficence, and here I would like to give some examples. Refrain from sharing individual shop data with banks, auditors, and competitors. You are studying about a shop, individual shop, who are the people who are having individual shop, and you are collecting some statistics. And you, as a policy, you are giving advice to the policy, advice to the government or to the, for example, to the auditors or to the banks. You want to give your information. Can you disclose from where you collected the data? Which shop you collected the data? You cannot do that. This identity should be maintained. The identity cannot be revealed. You'll have to refrain from telling from which shop you have collected the data. The next one is beneficence. I would like to give one more example. Okay. So for example, you go to a bank, you find that a lot of queuing and there is a lot of wait time. Whatever you do, you have to wait at least for 1 or 2 days for all the process to complete. So you want to give an advice to the banker, like how you can improvise on the service quality of the customer. So what you do, you immediately collect the survey from customers, what exactly is there in their mind, and find out the alternate, because they have a better solution for your problem. Sometimes we are not able to understand what is the solution for a problem. As a customer, he will be able to give a better solution, and that solution can be, summarized and given to the bankers. But in that case, will you reveal the identity? Will you reveal the identity of the customers to the banker? This customer gave this opinion, that customer gave the opinion. Whereas in the minutes of a meeting, you can mention. You have a meeting convened, somebody is giving some ideas. In the minutes of a meeting, you can represent the person's name, but not in your research, because it will affect the customer. And definitely in the future transaction, when he goes to the banker, then banker will treat him very differently. So you'll have to be very, very cautious about how you submit your data. Next, we come into the value system. We have finished the ethics, I'm just going into the value system. So value system comprises of these codes: objectivity, neutrality, fairness, respect for human dignity, accountability, social responsibility, inclusiveness, and cultural sensitivity. So these are the areas that we should look into. I will share some material with a lot of examples to you. I think you can go through. I think you're tired. I can make out that you're becoming tired. Okay. So next, Indian value system, respect for diversity. Okay, men, women, elderly, young, youth, and adolescents, give respect to everybody. And religious-wise, you give respect, and cultural differences are there, you give respect, because India is a country which is a diverse country, and with diverse population we need to respect. The community welfare, it should be taken into account, where customers and businesses will be a beneficiary. And Gandhian principle is very, very important. What does Gandhi speak about? What does Gandhi speak about? Yes? What does Gandhi speak about? Honesty, Satya, and what else? Ahimsa, Dharma. Yes. He speaks about all these things. It's nice to speak about Gandhian principles. They are saying that Gandhian principles should be adopted in our research. Okay. We know. If in case you are not doing, kindly follow. Gandhian principles, please go, what is Gandhian principles? We are all adults, grown-ups, so just go through the Gandhian principles and see what are the Gandhian principles, and if in case you don't follow, please follow in your research. The next one is social justice, okay? And sensitivity to the marginalized population. Sensitive. You'll have to be very, very sensitive to the marginalized population and see to that their needs are looked into, and you cannot exploit them. This is the word that I used earlier, exploitation. You cannot exploit the marginalized because you are superior. Okay, you are superior and they are inferior. So superior has better rights than the inferior. So this is where your undue influence comes into force, and this is also adopted in the research, which cannot be done. Then ICSSR is the funding agency, and they speak about some ethical values. They speak about plagiarism-free work. I think you had gone through that session. Plagiarism-free workshop was over, not yet over? Okay. So your content should be plagiarism-free work. What do you mean by plagiarism first? Copying. Okay, copying. Okay. We've been doing this right from our childhood, right? Copying somebody's lessons, copying somebody's notes, okay? Rewriting it in the same way because we've been used to it. So that becomes our habit. And that you think it becomes our value also sometimes. Sorry, it's not a value. So you need to understand that plagiarism is copying somebody's work. You can take a source, okay? Take the content as a source and give that in your research, but you cannot reproduce somebody's information into your research. You need to have originality in your work. So you'll have to have plagiarism-free work is taking somebody's job and claiming it as yours. You cannot do so. Please do not do it. The next is protection of vulnerable groups. I have already spoken about this. Ethical use of government data sets. Many of us use the government documents as a source of information, but when you are using the government source of information, please interpret it as it is. Very, very important. Interpreting the information as it is something that all of you should follow. You cannot distort the information given by the government because it has to be as per the records given by the government. But today you see the politics, how it is running. Each one just boost the data, or they say it is not happening at all, and we as common public get carried away by what is happening around us. I think that is something that is very, very unethical that the media is practicing today, and we are influenced by it. So we need to use our judgment to find out what is right. You can go through the records. There are a lot of government records to find out what is the actual statistics. If you look into any data, I had seen once information being circulated in the colleges. RBI is giving an internship for all students. So my God, there are so many letters coming to my office asking for RBI internship. I would like to go for RBI. RBI internship is very good. You can go for RBI internship. All of you can go for RBI internship. What is required is you should have completed your PG or your UG to go for RBI internship. All the first year, second year UG students are writing letters to me asking for letters, reference letters. So the information is not taken correctly to the children. So you need to understand, you cannot change the fact. You cannot change the fact what has been published by the government. Research serving as national development, because you know your information, your findings will definitely contribute to the development of the nation. Ethical issues in quantitative and qualitative. These are the two different basic research that all of you normally go for. Quantitative research is 90% of the population do quantitative research. Only 10% go for the qualitative research in the social sciences. So when you quantify, normally what we do, we make it favorable to us, 100%. So when you do small publications, what do? You take 100 as a statistics, you straight away conclude, the male is 30, this is 70, and like that you conclude. How many of them are postgraduate? How many of them, you yourself finish your statistics and submit articles for publication. Many of them are doing it. Okay, you know better. I don't have to speak about it right now. You touch here, it will tell you a lot of truth. You touch here, don't ask anyone, touch here, it will speak of lot of truth, and ChatGPT is helping us to do a wonderful job with regard to publication of articles. So let's do little groundwork and do our actual research. And I think that will make a lot of sense. And because I know one person who's doing, both of my scholars are here, and I'm very happy the way they had collected the data, because they had gone to every person, because they did not rely on the social media way of filling the questionnaire. So I would like to appreciate both of them are here with me today. So one is Mr. Vignesh, and the other one is Preeta Lakshmi here. And both of them had contacted so many of them, days together. They've been running to meet people. They have sat with those people, filled the questionnaire. So they were able to convey what is in their mind to them and get the procedure was adopted there, and they were able to get the correct impact. But in spite of it, we find some of the dispersions in our data. So we are again looking into where things have gone wrong. Where things have gone wrong. We are looking into it. See, this is something that a researcher has to look into. And we find that ethical issues in quantitative research is data manipulation. You know how many of you have done it, And that's why I said touch here. You'll know whether you need to raise your hands or not. I'm not going to ask anyone to raise your hands. Okay, it is unethical. So I will not ask that question. Okay, next one is the forced participation. Hey, please, you're a student, data. You're not a student, you know very well. She is your friend, okay, who is working somewhere in a corporate. Like a student name, you fill and you fill. So forced participation by somebody giving a falsification data. And the next one is misrepresentation of statistics. You know what is misrepresentation and what is fraud, right? Fraud, straight away imprisonment. Fraud is straight away imprisonment. Misrepresentation, is it punishable as per IPC? No, definitely not. What is misrepresentation? Knowingly you give a false information. Knowingly, therinje seivadu, kutrata. Therinje seivadu, so adu vandu enna aidudhu, tappun therinjom, adu unmainu adichu pesuradhu da misrepresentation. So you give a false information, which is again, you cannot change the statistics. Just because you got a thing that 70% of the male responded and 30 only women responded, you want to make some adjustments there. You want to make some adjustment in the statistics because in the, Viva, there'll be some questions on this. Why there was not balanced population? Okay, you want to edit it. You cannot do so. Okay, you cannot do so. You need to understand that. Publishing partial data. You are not giving the full-fledged information, okay, taking partial information and publishing, which may not be a representation of what you have done. So that has to be taken into account. Next is the qualitative research. The emotional sensitivity during interviews should be that I told you, for example, people at Karur district were affected by the TVK campaign. Okay, so you want to find out some information about the loss of life, the loss of, so many things that had happened there. So it's a very, very emotional part, and you'll have to be very, very sensitive on this issue. You cannot just like that come to a conclusion to give information there. So you'll have to be very, very careful when you're giving such information. And this is what we've seen in the media, how it has been publicized. Then whether it's right or wrong, that is not our question here. But what was right, nobody knows till today. Nobody knows what was the correct information, none of us are aware of, okay? So then the next one, because I know your time is getting little thing, your course director is there. Yeah, okay, you have anything there? Okay. Then case studies of some of you might take case study for your research. You are not going to have participants, but you're going to have case study of an institution or about a corporate, about a company or some venture you want to do a case study. Then you cannot just like that write about somebody. For example, I write something about you. What will you do? Install or post potale gali. Install without your permission, I post your picture, matter over. Okay, what will you do? That's it. You will roll on the floor. I find many colleges, girls are rolling on the floor, fighting. Okay, so that is what will happen when you post your photo without somebody's permission. So you'll have to be very careful when you are doing a case study about a person. You write about somebody, you will be arrested also. You will be arrested for doing something which is not correct. And you need to get permission from the institution because the compensation which they may claim can be a very huge loss to you. So you'll have to be very careful with whom you are fighting. With whom you are fighting, if you are going to write about somebody and that person is supposed to be a very big person, then you'll have to see to that you are ready to pay the compensation. Ensuring confidentiality of individual is very, very important. When you do a case study of someone or some individual, for example, you have, so psychology people are here. They have people as their, subject when they are doing a research. So when you're having them as a subject, you cannot reveal this person's, what is their problem, their emotional intelligence, and so on. You cannot mention about the person. Without the person's identity, you need to reveal everything. Then modern ethical challenges, all these things I'll skip. I'll come back to one very interesting, okay, types of misconduct in the research. What are the types of misconduct that you can possibly come across are fabrication of data, making up data. நான் தான் சொன்னல சின்ன சின்ன பப்ளிகேஷன்லாம் பண்ணுறோம் ISBN ஜேர்னலிங் எல்லாம் பண்ணுறோன்னா ஒரு நைட்டில் ஆர்டிக்கல் வந்துடுது 3 nights article is ready, I am ready to give for publication. I am very good in no cooking, that's called as we call cooking. Okay, so we used to call one, I remember one person who was known to me and he was working for an organization. He was in fact called as a prestige there because he was very good in cooking and he happens to be an accountant there. I used to make fun of him also because the funding and everything, he was very good in making up things. It's unethical. And this fabrication is not permitted, very, very unethical. Falsification, manipulating what is actuals you are not disclosed, but you are making your own data and presenting it. Plagiarism, copying without credit. You can copy, but you need to give their reference. That's why when you take review of literature, when you specify somebody's article, when you take some lines from them, you always mention their names, you give the credit to that person. And redundant publication. So what happens is you go for an outdated publication, which is of no use to anybody. And ghost authorship. Okay, ghost authorship. Have you heard about ghost authorship? What happens? Somebody very good in writing, I take his content, he helps me because I want to be strong in research. I want to develop my CV in such a way that I have number of publications. Somebody will write, I will use it. Geeta Rufus has published so-and-so article and get an award also, if possible. Okay? Because I have somebody who's doing it for me, and poor that man will not use his name. He gives it to me, for which I make a small, adjustment. So I do a small adjustment, and finally it is done. And what happens is, it's called as a ghost publication, where you are not the real author. And conflict of interest, hiding, non-disclosure. Okay? So these are some areas of, you can go out of the way, where you might lose on the ethics. So keep these things in mind. Definitely, you will be strong and proud to say that you have ethics in your work. The consequences is what will happen if in case they identify that these are the misconduct that you have followed. Cancellation of thesis. They will send back your thesis and say, no, you'll have to redo the whole thesis. I remember one of my batchmates whose thesis was returned, saying that you'll have to redo the whole thing. And she did again from the beginning, she had to submit it. Blacklisting by journals, okay, when they know that you have given a content of somebody and they come to know that it is already copyrighted data and which you have used, what happens is they will blacklist your name and you cannot publish anymore in such journals. In future, even if you give the best of content, such journals will not accept your publications. Legal action sometimes you may have to face. Some of the journals have got the practice of saying that you are selected for the best article, best paper, etc. We get carried away. Oh, my paper selected. My paper is selected. Oh, all that happiness you get. Finally, they say, normally for publishing this paper, it is 1,000 euros or 100 euros. You pay only 20 euros. And we are very happy. 20 euros only, I'm getting international publication. Okay? Then they find this, that problem, and they continue on and on. This happened to one of my case. I'm just giving that as an example today. And they continue mailing you, and finally, I told that person, please say that you are not interested. Please tell that you are not interested. When that person conveyed, I am not interested to publish the article, what was the response from the publication company? You will have to pay 1,000 euros for cancellation. 100 euros for cancellation. Publishing is only 20 euros. And they said it was free initially, I think. And now, when you cancel it, you'll have to pay 100 euros. Why? We never signed an agreement with you all. You selected our articles. See, these are the predators that you'll have to be very, very careful. Don't fall trap. How many of you have seen fake products in the market, which is equivalent to the branded products? How many of you have seen fake products? So many cosmetics, so many food items, which is fake in the market with the same brand name. Has anyone come across such items in the market? Yes, right? Yes. So many things are there. I had seen Marie biscuit, same Marie biscuit, somewhere one I is extra or somewhere some branding or some logo is very clearly given, okay, to identify that this is different from the original Marie biscuit. I was surprised, and I normally, whenever I buy a product, I go through it 1,000 times, million times to see what exactly it is there, because I would like to know that what I'm consuming is the right product. So I found that there is so much of deviation from the original product. So what happens is you get carried away and you buy wrong product and you use. Similarly, when you go for publishing of articles, you'll have to be very, very careful. You will find it is a fake website, because there will be one addition of one U or I or S, which will be very, very tiny, which you will not notice. Go into the email ID to identify whether it is a correct source of information to which you are going to apply for your journal. That way you can easily find out you have gone into a fake site. You've gone into a fake site. As a principal, let me tell you, per day I get 50 to 100 mails. 50 to 100 mails, out of which I can definitely vouch and say that 25 mails are fake mails, trying to attract students because they are very vulnerable, and through them you can make good money today. You can make very good money. There are so many ways in which they are trying to trap, but I am very particular. What I first do is I assess the company and the person who has sent the mail. Only if I am satisfied, the mail will go to others. I have made it as my ethical practice. It takes little extra time for me, no problem. It takes little extra time for me, but I'm very sure that I have not forwarded anything which will be risky to my faculty and students. Because as a principal, it is my moral responsibility. So similarly, you are very responsible. You cannot give a wrong recommendation through somebody's matter, copying somebody's information without, having some base of any research. You cannot just give some advice to anybody. So follow some ethical procedure practice in order to give that policy makers a good decision. You should be able to give a good decision to the policy makers, and your policy should be something that has been accepted by others. So give it in such a way it is a worthwhile policy. And reputational damage. Now, it is not only that when you are saying that you are wrong and you are just being penalized, we will inform your institution, we will inform the person what you have done. So what happens? It affects my reputation. When I go in for shortcuts, when I go for wrong practices, it affects my reputation. Okay. Okay, then with that I stop and I come back to a very interesting session. Case studies and all I have. Okay. Okay. So now take your mobiles or your computer, whatever you want. Take your mobile or computer, open up Mentimeter, this www.mentimeter.com. Mentimeter, you open this. I have few questions for research ethics, and you are going to respond to this research ethics. Nobody will know who you are. You enjoy, because normally when we are correct, we want to boast ourselves. When we are wrong, we don't want anyone to know who we are. So nobody's going to know who you are. Keep responding. It will just say the percentage of your response. That's it. Mentimeter, have you gone into that? You have the number. Have you entered into it? Just enter the number, what is mentioned on the PPT. 2131 3433. Have you entered? You got it? Mentimeter. 2131 3433. Got it right? Yeah, you enter the number there. Enter the number. Go down. Yeah, you enter the number there on top. On top of listen, learn, and think together, you have a box. Enter the number 2131 3433. 2131 3433. Have you entered? Yes, just wait. Let me put my system on. Okay. It's ready? Did you check it earlier? Check பண்ணிட்டீங்களா சார் ஏற்கனவே? Okay. Show it on the screen here. Show it on the screen. Have you got it to a page? Do you have any questions there? Okay, then answer the questions and submit. Wait 1 second, wait. Wait, just wait. நீங்க அங்கலே போட்டுக்கலாம்ல, லேப்டாப்ல இருந்து அனுப்பிக்கலாம்ல. ஏற்கனவே டெஸ்ட் பண்ணேன்றாரு. அங்க ஸ்கிரீன்ல ஏற்கனவே டெஸ்ட் பண்ணீங்கல்ல, ஸ்க்ரீனில் ஒர்க் ஆச்சுல்ல, அதுதானே உங்களை அனுப்பிச்சேன். What is the use? Just put it here, no? Put that file here. Okay, I'll enter my ID here. The second question, go to the next one. Yes. Yes. The second question, please answer. You are responding. Just said submit. Only then you go to the next question. Slowly you go to the next question. Only if you submit. How many of you gone to the second question? Yeah, many have gone to the second question. Answer. Informed consent requires that participants. Yes. Fully understand the study before agreeing. You have given, most of you have given an answer. Everyone responded?
24, ma'am.
25 have responded out of 34. You can see the number of responses here. 27 have responded. 27. The remaining, okay, we'll skip to the next one. Okay, the next question. Do no harm refers to which ethical principle? Do no harm. Now justice is going down. Justice is going down. Okay. Do no harm. Which ethical principle? So you are found out. Okay. I'll give you the answers at the end. Or you want it now? Now. Okay, go back to the answer, Vignesh.
Answer.
Show the answer.
It will tick mark.
Yeah, tick mark is your answer. You have the tick mark on top of the bar. So that's your answer. So you have your answer. So only whoever has answered non-maleficence is the right answer. The next one. Which principle ensures participants can withdraw anytime without penalty? Ten have responded out of 34. You are seeing the answer and responding. And if you give your answer, you can see the result here.
Twenty-eight.
28 have responded, so I'll get to the next question. Your answer is perfect. 75% of the people have answered correctly. Excellent. The next. Which of the following is an example of research misconduct? Okay. 4, 6, 8, 11 have responded. 12, 14, 18, 19, 21, 22. Okay. 28. 28 of you have responded. 29. Any guesses? Answer? Fabricating. Yes, your answer is fabricating. Well done. The next one. Plagiarism means? Plagiarism means? Okay, answer. 13 have responded. 13 have responded. 24. 25. 27. Okay, 29. Yeah. Okay. So the answer is? It goes without saying, using someone's work without proper credit. The next. Which report? I was supposed to speak more on this, but I couldn't speak because there's such a lot to speak of this. This 1 or 2 hours duration is not sufficient to speak on this report. APA manual was set up in the year 1949. The ethical part of the research was, coined then. 1979, yes. Okay, so because you do not know what it is, and I told you, I gave you the answer also. Yes, next. I told you, I was supposed to speak more on that, I said. I was supposed to speak more on that because that's a base for all of us. It speaks about the ethics of research. Next, the term anonymity means what? The term anonymity means data is stored securely, participants' identity cannot be linked to responses, only supervisors know the identity, data is shared publicly. What is the answer? Correct answer? Participants' identity cannot be linked to responses. You should not reveal their identity. Ethical clearance is typically provided by every institution should have an institutional ethical committee, or it's called as a review committee. It was initially called as institutional review committee, which will screen your questionnaire or survey before you could pass it on to the others. This practice is also followed in Patrician College. Any questionnaire that comes into the institution to collect data from the students or faculty, we screen and only then pass it on to the students as well as faculty. And I had a coordinator who was in charge of this. Since the coordinator is no more, and I had taken it up, and I am personally doing it because she was meticulously following it up, and she was working on the data that were asked from the students, participants. A researcher modifying data to improve results is of falsification, innovation, literature review, random sampling. Somebody is giving literature review. Don't give me heart attack. Okay. 30 respondents. And you know the answer? Falsification. Yes. Which of the following ensures fairness in participant selection? Participant selection, justice, beneficence, reliability, and validity. Which of the following ensures fairness in participant selection? Doubt. Doubts. Wait. He is ready to put the answer because you are giving wrong answers. Yeah, 29 have responded. Remaining do not want to. Okay, we'll pick the answer.
Yes.
Okay. Beneficence is good. Reliability talks about your analysis. The value that requires a researcher to remain unbiased is very important aspect. I think you are giving your answers. I'm happy. The doubtful about your answers. If I look there, you will get a clue from my eyes. Some are doing that. Some are studying my eyes and seeing where I am looking into. Sharp scholars I have here. Okay, the answer is objectivity. It's a very important aspect. I have my notes. I can share it with you all so that it will be useful for you. With examples, lot of examples I have got. So that those examples will help you to understand each terminology so that it gives a fair idea about what is ethics. Okay? Which is mandatory step before collecting data from human participants? Buying a laptop, preparing ethical approval of documents, writing the conclusion, publishing the results. Okay, that's nice. So you know the answer? The majority has given. Okay. Which of the following is not an ethical principle? Not an ethical principle. So somebody have listened to what I have said, so you are able to respond. So you are able to connect with what I have said, I think. Okay. Okay, the right answer is coercion. Next, using AI tools without mentioning them in the methodology violates which principle? You are using AI tool is permitted to, you can use, but without mentioning them in methodology violates which principle? Cannot use AI tool? No, it doesn't say that. Yes, your answer? The correct answer is yes. Next, the misuse of private information taken from social media. I did not touch on the topic, but my slide has covered it. So I think we'll stop with these questions. You'll do it on your own after reading my article content.
Yes, please.
But many people will Mentimeter will not be available for your answers.
How many more are left?
I have 30 questions for you. We'll wind up with this. I had initially 15, and I thought I'll make it more interesting because you will have some your technology with you. Something with the technology is always more interesting than a human face. So I thought this will be more interesting to you. Then I thought I'll add few more questions to that. So the remaining you can have it later, or you would like to have it now? How many of you want it now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we'll do, we'll send the remaining out. Then the 5 also will say we are also going out. Yes, tell me how do you want it? You want it now? Yeah, how many of you want it? Just raise your hands once again so that I have a proper count.
For us, we are binary. For us, we are binary.
So you are?
Binary, binary. We sit on the fence. So whatever you decide, we are doing.
Oh, so sweet. Majority. We go by majority, okay? Have few more questions? Ethical values are important in research primarily because they speed up research, build trust and credibility, increase finances, reduce workload. Okay? Perfect. Okay, next. The act of publishing the same paper in different journals is called
Answer B. B. Answer C.
already known. Abhinav Rao. Okay. Okay. Tools used to check plagiarism. Very good. You are ready for it, I think. Next. Intellectual honesty refers to hiding. Intellectual honesty refers to hiding errors, accurate and truthful reporting, manipulating variables, skipping literature review. Perfect. Okay. So have a nice day. Enjoy. I hope I was able to give little to you all. And this is the base for your research. Even though it is very little, it may be just 0.01. But without this, your research is going to be 0. So kindly follow ethics in your research. God bless us all. Have a nice day.
On behalf of all the participants, I take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Arogyamari Geeta Rufus, Principal, our today's esteemed resource person. Ma'am, your valuable insights, motivating words, and thoughtful guidance have truly inspired us. We are grateful for the time you took to be with us and for sharing your knowledge so generously. A warm thanks to everyone for joining this session with enthusiasm and making it meaningful. Once again, thank you, ma'am, for your enriching and inspiring session. Thank you, everyone.
One person from the audience, just one line of feedback. One person from the audience, one line of feedback. That's all. One line only. Just one line only.
Whoever.
Or one word, good, bad, ugly. Whatever you want. I have my professor there. Yes. No one is interested, shall I? Yes, please.
Ma'am, I'll be frank. At the starting of the session, I used to sleep. But after Mentimeter, everything, I'm so happy. It's interested and also I wake up immediately. ஒரு spark வரும் பார்த்தீங்களா அந்த spark மாதிரி வந்து அந்த ஆன்சர் டக்கு டக்குன்னு வரும்போது அது இட்ஸ் வெரி இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங். தேங்க்யூ மேம். தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச்.
She elected me actually. See, she selected me. Sorry. Yeah, so it's good for you to know that I've also choose my cabinet. Yeah, I have ministers and cabinet ministers here. Yeah, so the honest truth is when we talk about ethics, it has to go a very, very long way. And it did not start today. That's the honest truth. It can be traced back in the 350 BCs, wherein the likes of Aristotle, Immanuel Kant, and so on, they introduced ethics by looking at it in a coil way. So ethics basically comes from two words, which is ethos and etica. But if we say we're going to talk about it, we cannot move out of here. So in a nutshell, Mama have taught us a very, very good ethical practices, ranging from what we are supposed to do and what not we are supposed to do, in order to ensure that we publish good research papers and works. So let's take them into practice and make sure we do them. Okay? You've done very, very well for us. We appreciate everything. We mark the words and we pray we're going to put them into practice. So since you want me to say something, it was Paka.